Experience better sleep and wellness with CleanMyBed. The service begins by deep cleaning your mattress and pillows to remove build-up like skin cells, pet hair, and other debris. Once your bed is free from build-up, we use a concentrated UVC germicidal light to eliminate any remaining dust mites, viruses, or bacteria. CleanMyBed is completely dry and chemical-free, and your bed, now cleaner than ever, is ready for use. Sleep easier with CleanMyBed.
So today we have Charlie Wright, co-founder of CleanMyBed. We have Rob Dancy, who's recruitment manager for those. And we have Jerry Foley, who will be hosting the webinar today. And then I will be in the background, make sure everything runs okay. So I'll hand it over to you, Jerry.
Thanks very much, and apologies again for a slight delay, but hopefully it'll be more than worth your while being along. I want to start with Charlie Wright. He's the co-founder and CEO of CleanMyBed. And the great thing about your story, Charlie, is your family story, and in particular, what was happening to your daughter. So explain how it all began and why it's been so important to not only your family's health, but also the whole idea of the business.
Sure. Jerry, thanks very much indeed. Thank you, Keith, in the background. And hi, Rob. Yes, this is a very personal story. Near on 3 years ago, my wife and I were getting a little bit fed up with this constant allergy suffering by our then 7-year-old daughter, who would wake up on a daily basis with runny nose, itchy eyes, and just a little hacking cough and what have you. It got so bad that we were actually getting feedback from school, because they would ask us, she's sleeping all right, she's staying up late, or whatever. And in conjunction with this, Tracy, my wife, had been constantly going to chemists and to the GP for the same prescriptions on a continuous basis. So you would get prescribed the same cortisones, creams, eye drops, but on a recurring basis. And it was getting to the point where really there must be something that we aren't doing. And the long and the short of it was that we went down a rabbit warren and discovered that by removing the debris that every single human being on the planet deploys into their sleeping environment, and particularly their bed, by removing that from their sleeping environment, we are actually helping ourselves and protecting ourselves from allergy triggers and what have you, because essentially what that debris consists of is food. Our discarded skin and everything else that comes off our bodies at night provides a food source for the common dust mite. And the dust mites aren't the problem, but the dust mites, because they're feeding off us, they're also having to relieve themselves. And that is the bottom line. We are ingesting or breathing in at night what the dust mites leave behind. And it might seem revolting and really rather ghastly, but it is fact. And every one of us on Earth is doing exactly the same. So by removing this grime from our environment, we found overnight, Jerry, a significant decrease in her suffering. And at the same time, we happen to have been introduced to a particular piece of technology using germicidal light, which many of us will have seen during our daily lives, whether it's in a hospital environment, whether it's at a beautician, whether it's at a hairdresser or salon or barbers. We often see this sort of blue light in a bread bin on the counter, disinfecting and sanitizing instruments and tools and scissors and everything else. So we basically packaged a two-part process combining the removal of the grime, and I can come on to how we do that later, but by removing the grime, coupled with the science that has been around for over 100 years, and packaged CleanMyBed, which is now rolled out across South Africa, providing, if you like, an on-demand service to allergy relief and improving people's sleep and well-being in their bed.
We'll come into a little bit more detail in terms of the two-stage process, but in terms of going back to your family and the way in which your daughter now doesn't have these allergies, but it wasn't that easy to find the solution because, this was affecting thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people every day. not only in South Africa, but around the world. So what was the breakthrough moment in terms of saying, oh, if we just cleaned her bed more thoroughly, things would improve?
Right. First of all, Jerry, I must just sort of correct you on one of those things. So we're not in the business of substituting, we're not curing allergies, right?
Sure.
That is not what we're doing. What we are doing is, if you like, providing a sensible first line of defense to prevent allergen triggers while we sleep. So
that's very clear on your website as well. This is a preventative measure, but also it's a very clever preventative measure. And as say, you saw that firsthand, and you then tried it out on family and friends, and you say they were seeing the benefits.
Yes, and then what became evident and hugely apparent was I couldn't actually believe that something so simple, staring at the face, was having the effect that it did. And I actually then took what we had done to GPs and allergologists, and now that's a name. It's not an allergist; it's an allergologist. They're specialists. And we took it to the allergologists and to a particular part of allergy control at the University of Cape Town's Lung Institute and presented what we were doing. And they said, look, we've basically been trying to preach the word to people to keep their beds clean for years. So what we were doing was, and the other thing that they were saying was, yes, and this isn't a once, it's not a once off. Our human bodies discard skin on a regular basis. So it's a constant. And so you've got to keep on top of this, especially if you do suffer from allergies in some way or form. Because, and then we asked the medical profession, given that, how often should we be doing this? And the response was, if you are allergic, pretty much every 3 to 4 months. Wow. So if you remove this, and we can show you the results of repeat services and what have you, but there's this constant build-up, and by getting rid of it, you are in fact improving your breathing, your sleep, your health, your wellness all round. The thought of what it is that you're breathing in at night is, it's eye-opening, to be perfectly honest.
We'll come back to just eye-opening, because you have some
3 months later, because there was a natural build-up again, and the same thing happened, because Isla's allergies began to creep up again after the 3-month period, and then we removed it and started again, and then it became, gosh, this is eye-opening, and then the specialist came to us, look, do it. It's a great first line of defense. That's all.
First line of defense, but also a repeated line of defense, which is where I'm going to bring Rob in, because that makes good business sense. So, Rob, sometime late last year, you get this call from South Africa, from Charlie, saying, hey, we've developed this franchise. It's having very good results. There's a lot of potential in it. Had you ever heard of anything like this before? And what was your initial response to Charlie's hope to bring it into the UK and Irish markets?
Yeah, so we hadn't heard of it before. I don't think many people have heard of it before, but when you hear about it and learn about it, you kind of want it. The good thing about franchising, what makes a good franchise model is a service that is applicable anywhere, everywhere, in every corner, town and city of any country of the world. So the demand is definitely there. It's not, Charlie's talking about the people who suffer from dust mite allergies, etc. But it's not exclusively for that. It's about in the well-being market. So, once someone sees what is in their mattress and how they're helping maybe a child or another member of the family, they want theirs done as well. So, the market's huge. Every house has at least a bed, as Keith is showcasing just right there.
He's very on message today, very on message.
Yeah. So, one mattress or more in a house. So the opportunity is huge. When you've got something that's so new and available everywhere, huge demand. It's an exciting opportunity really for us to get hold of and be working with Charlie and the team there to launch it in the UK.
And Charlie, your own background was primarily in hospitality, so this isn't just a domestic market, but there's hospitality, there's presumably big entertainment centers that would have overnight accommodation, nursing homes. So in terms of how it's worked so far in South Africa, what's the kind of split between individuals saying this would be good in my home and then bigger companies saying we need to do the whole hotel?
Yeah, so good question, Jerry. Where we in South Africa, we actually took it to market in the B2C format first, knowing full well that the B2B environment, where you refer to, the term accommodation, the holiday lets, the end of tenancy contracts, the boutique hotels, the guest house market, yacht charters, schools, student accommodation. It's really, as Rob said, where there's a bed, and we don't want to be as flippant as that, because we're providing a medical grade service at a very premium level. But the split in South Africa very early started on with a B2C environment. And
to the individual market then,
Pardon?
To the individual market then, you're going to the homes,
Absolutely. Starting within the home environment, getting people to really understand what and why. And obviously early on, as this was introduced, there was a degree of anxiety from people who either were burying their head in the sand, not wanting to know what was in their bed, but when the realization of what was actually extracted and shown to them right in front of their very eyes, having then been handheld through the process by that franchisee, which is, this is in your bed, now it's out. How do you feel? People's anxiety dissipated, and the sense of responsibility came to the fore, which is, oh my goodness, I have been sleeping with this, now I'm not. So there's any number of benefits here. You can even
if I can just interject, in the commercial market, certainly if you take Airbnb, let's say, Airbnb is a very competitive market now. Everyone who can do it is doing it. And usually it's either a hot tub in the garden or something or other to give the edge over the other choice. And we're starting to see people, well, if I can get if our mattresses are sanitized by CleanMyBed, then rest assured you're going to be sleeping in a clean mattress. So that gives people an extra edge, an extra selling point, unique selling point. So and it wouldn't take too many commercial contracts, whether they're Airbnbs, small boutique hotels, or larger hospitals, care homes, student accommodation. You can see how that can scale very quickly.
And just on that, sorry, Terry, if I can just add to what Rob's saying there, is that the hospitality industry, obviously the guest house market, is absolutely prime for this, but not to the extent where we're telling the hospitality industry they've got a problem. This, as Rob was saying, is a differentiation. This is how you set yourself apart from Hotel B down the road. And because us as this hotel, this is what we're doing to ensure that your stay and that we're winning back guest confidence. And I say back, that's not me, it is, I apologise.
Okay, no problem. It just shows you're much in demand even as we go through this. I want to come back. You'll get that. You'll eventually get it. Don't worry about it, Charlie. You can kill it. I'm going to go back to Rob, because just on that point about being a differentiator and everything else, looking at the respective websites, and knows this also from Franchise Direct, it's very important. It's very important, Rob, isn't it, for you to get to know potential customers. Someone's insisting on getting to talk to Charlie now. Is it gone, Charlie? It is. He's gone. Yeah, no, he's back. And Rob, it's still the same question in terms of when you get a new client coming in, someone like Charlie, what are the markers, the benchmarks that you look at first to make sure that this is going to be successful for your business and also for the future franchisor?
Yeah, you want to make sure that the model is proven and is showing traction in where it's been founded and getting results. I mean, Charlie, they've got one franchisee who actually runs it part-time, but she is up to sanitizing 200 beds a month.
Well,
and she doesn't do much marketing either. So, on that level, she's got it to a level which is earning good money. So, when someone does it full time and in a much bigger market, then the opportunities are endless. But I don't know what, in terms of my role here with CleanMyBed and as recruitment manager, is that I'll be the first person that anyone interested in this franchise will speak to. So the conversation that I'm going to be having with people that hopefully are watching right now I want to know about their background, someone, your background as an individual, your experience in the business world, why you're looking at franchising, why CleanMyBed has attracted you, and what are you looking to get out of it? So I can really understand. I've recruited hundreds of people into franchising over the last 20 odd years. And I know who I'm looking for in a certain individual of what CleanMyBed are looking for, but also what makes a good franchisee. So I'll take all that in, but at the same time, I'll then be able to answer all your initial questions about the franchise, some of the numbers, the financial forecasts, and the concept. Just so and then if there's a match, if we see there's a good match, then that's when I put forward the people that tick all the sort of initial boxes of who we're looking for through to Charlie, and that works really well in terms of supporting, getting the right franchisees on board.
We'll come back in a moment just in terms of the some of the possible numbers involved. But Charlie, as you make clear on your own website, this is a very personal service. So people are going into somebody's homes, into the bedroom, even more personal. So getting the right people to run these franchises, even in many other businesses, is so crucial. I mean, it really is a big deep dive to make sure they have the right personalities, they have the right credentials, and are going to establish a bond with customers right from the start.
Yeah, absolutely. Jerry, that has been that is at the core of what we're doing, because as you say, there's a lot of trust. I
don't know. No, we're all looking at our phones, but just key on this point, because I think it's very important in terms of what Rob was saying, the dialogue, why you're interested in becoming a franchisee, but also the personal qualities, Charlie, for your particular business.
Yeah. Look, the business is, whilst it's new, if you like, out of the blocks, and it's taking people, it's like the rabbit in the headlights. Gosh, this is a service, I hadn't even thought about that. And it does require a little bit of trust on someone's part to enable a franchisee to come into their house and lay bare their mattress to everyone. And I think during this sort of investigative, or these foremost months as we gain traction in new markets, it is very important to start with and going forward to ensure that they have the right diplomacy, trust, morally are the right people that we are ourselves. We want to emulate the people that we are, because we have in ourselves kicked the tires on this for over 300, 400 beds to prove that this works. And it really is hand-holding through the first service. Once the first service is done and the client has seen what this is about, and they've seen the results, they are, my goodness, why haven't I done this before? It's eye-opening.
Well, Rob will tell them that this is a great opportunity, but in terms of initial costs, and then not only what the potential franchisee will have to put up in terms of front of house money, if you like, but of course, they get a very strong support package in terms of training and advertising and backup if there are any issues further down the line. Rob?
Yeah, so in terms of support, jump straight into that. CleanMyBed have created a 100-day ignition program, which is really hand-holding you through that 100-day, first 100 days, to really make sure that they're doing everything they can to support you in your launch and training and delivery. and marketing, etc. Both from your side and from their side, to really make sure those any problems that may occur or issues, you're nipping those in the bud early doors, just so you can really push forward. So there's a huge amount of support. Charlie and the other co-founder Gary, and Charlie's wife, this is their baby. They really want this to succeed, and they're going all guns blazing to support their franchisees to make them a success as well. So there's a huge amount of focus on support. There's actually a national marketing agency in the background working on the brand as a whole across the UK in the wellness sort of well-being sector. But then also when a franchisee launches, their location will be peppered with the right sort of digital marketing from the agency side and from the franchisees on the ground side to really get the word out there. There's lots of things that you can do on a non-cost basis, just sort of your local Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, school groups, friends and family that will really get things going.
And Charlie, this is very much an opportunity then for people to get in from the ground up, because this is, as Rob was saying, it's very new in the UK. Roughly what kind of, I know there's a lot of data and number crunching which goes in to decide on the allocation of territories, but could either yourself or Rob give us an idea of what kind of territory and numbers are we talking with, maybe Rob, to begin with, when a new franchisee comes on the market?
Yes, each franchisee will exclusively get 50,000 households in their territory. And because it's a new franchise, we're unlikely to have any neighboring franchisees rubbing up against each other early doors. So franchisees are able to work in, if they get calls or, if we get calls from outside the exclusive area, they're allowed to service those on a non-exclusive basis. But if they start to develop business in those areas and they want to secure that as an exclusive area, then they're able to pay an additional territory fee to secure additional land mass, if you will, to continue to grow. But having said that, the 50,000 households exclusive for one franchisee, for one operator, is more than enough to, if you get up to 200 beds plus recurring on a monthly basis, that's over £10,000 worth of turnover a month. And with very minimal sort of overheads. So, to get up to that sort of level is more than doable within your 50,000 households.
And Charlie, your first impressions of the differences, the main differences between here and the South African market? Obviously, there are some similarities, but you're finding your feet here, guided by people like Rob. But anything stand out for you?
Yeah, exactly. Look, we always knew that South Africa was going to be the test market, and we will always come up against the people who, because it's so new. There's people are somewhat anxious, but it's just breaking that ceiling. And when you realise, Jerry, that at the end of the day, what the competition is at this moment in time, it's twofold. One is that there is this old school mentality, and I'll probably get some flack for this, but I can back it up. There's this old school mentality that we subconsciously know that we should be cleaning our beds or keeping them at least cleaner, and our default scenario is that we somehow steam clean it. Okay, that's the default setting in our heads. Why? I don't know, but for every day, you ask people, and steam cleaning really involves putting a liquid and a chemical into people's beds to remove a stain, which inherently is not harmful, all right? But it does take time to dry afterwards. And if it doesn't dry, it can cause mold, and it can trigger all sorts of downstream ailments as well. So our competition is really old school mind thinking, which is steam cleaning, and the second is the status quo, people doing nothing about it. So now we've introduced a service that is instant, it's dry, it's chemical free, and you can climb back into bed immediately without having to worry about molds or anything, or even having to take your ahead and put it outside in the sun for an hour and whatever. So it really is on demand, at ease.
I suppose one should raise the question about cost and affordability. You've persuaded us very heavily on the benefits of this, and not only the benefits, but probably the wisdom of doing it on a regular basis. But of course, cost of living crisis, people looking at their budgets. For families, would this be seen very much as a sort of luxury add-on rather than something which should be factored in as part of your well-being? Because as Rob says, it's within the well-being space.
Yes. So, Rob, I'm going to start answering that, and you can sort of follow on if you'd like. Jerry, look, to be perfectly honest, I'm confident that a lot of people will see this as a grudge purchase at this moment in time, purely because they haven't been made aware of the benefits up until now. And I can tell you that we did get that pushback down here in South Africa to start with, until Mrs. Smith, and I'll use Mrs. Smith very, very broadly, until Mrs. Smith realised that by removing this from her environment was helping protect her family and her children. And what parent wouldn't do that for their children? So the anxiety and the overcoming of the feeling that this might be a grudge purchase was quick. And it becomes, we want it to become second nature, like waking up and brushing your teeth, because ultimately you climb into bed and you wash your clothes and you wash your bed linen, and yet you climb onto or into a bed that is riddled and rife with whatever else. So what we're trying to do is just tell the public, that's in your bed, get rid of it, you'll sleep better, you'll breathe better, you'll live better.
I'm going to remind people, really do go on to the CleanMyBed website, because they're very short but very powerful videos, just how much stuff comes out of a single mattress. So be prepared for that. But Rob, you can see the potential, obviously, in this. You've already talked about the commercial market, the differentiator, but also how persuasive Charlie is in terms of this is something we should all be looking at and considering doing.
Absolutely, and at the end of the day, it's the price that the go-to-market we've gone to market in the UK is £65, inclusive of VAT per mattress, and I think it's discounted for the second or third. And if that's something you have to do every 3 months, I mean, you'll get some people that'll do it every 3 months, some every 6, maybe some people only once a year. But the system that we have in place, or that CleanMyBed have in place to remind customers and notify customers, we last saw you 3 months ago, would you like us to come again, that type of stuff, just keeps the recurring business going. But if you wanted to sleep in a clean mattress, then £65 every 3 months is not. If you think how much we spend on going out for lunch or a round of drinks in a bar with some friends, it's not a lot of money. So for the peace of mind, once Charlie says, like, once you've done it once and you think, well, that's fantastic, it suddenly doesn't become a burden.
And Charlie, what's your sort of ambition now? Okay, you've developed the market successfully in South Africa. You're hitting the UK and the Ireland market. Sky's the limit. I mean, how big are your own ambitions for it?
Well, they're big, Jerry, but right now our short to medium term focus is absolutely commitment to the UK. We want to share this, launch this in an environment that is so similar to where we have developed this and launched it. It's baby steps. I mean, we've got big vision, we can see a lot, but we want to do this gently, and you can't, in this sort of business, go from step A to step G without going through all of the processes. So it's important that we make sure that launching this in the UK correctly will, if you like, prove its scalability down the line to other countries.
And Rob, just in terms of timeframes, because it obviously differs, as Charlie says, we want to get it right, baby steps, but we can see where it could potentially lead us to. When you are dealing with someone like Charlie and see the potential, it must be kind of exciting.
Yeah, it's hugely exciting when you get an opportunity like this that's really innovative, new, and can service anyone, anywhere, is so right for franchising. It's untrue. So not only is it great for Charlie, but it's also creates a great opportunity for individuals to run their own business through franchising, which is what everyone listening in here is thinking about doing. And essentially, this is an owner-operator franchise initially, but with the view to being able to scale and become a management franchise thereafter. It's a low investment. It's £15,000 plus VAT, which is low investment. You've got really low if any startup costs. You'll need a phone, you'll need a computer, and you'll need a vehicle. Most of us have all got one of those anyway. If you really wanted to be fancy and buy a van and have it branded up as CleanMyBed, then you at your own expense that we could brand it for you, but that would add value to your service in your area. You don't need to do that. Keep your costs low to start with. And a bit of working capital to cash flow yourself and any kind of paid for local marketing. So it's and timescales and getting started, because it's not premise based. The kit, we have a big store of the kit in the UK already. So if someone wants to start, we can get them up and running very, very quickly. So it doesn't take long to be out there servicing customers.
And I want to just perhaps as we're coming towards the end, give Charlie a chance to remind us again on the videos you show. It's very compact, the equipment that you use. So it's not like you're lugging very heavy pieces of equipment around. Anybody can use the vacuum pack and then use the light as well.
Yep, it's exactly that. Look, we have designed, or we have designed it. The equipment is very manageable and can be carried on your back. Very compact. As Rob says, there's no warehousing that's required. There's no sort of street signage that's required, and there's no rental or premises rental that's required. But what I really want, if I could just get one thing in here, because I know that you touched on the cost of the service, Gary, and that is that yes, there's a starting cost. We've had to sort of find a pitch at which to start, but the more it's down to the individual franchisee at the end of the day to win his or her own business. At mothership level, we drive a national awareness campaign to wherever we've got our franchisees. And we have, and Rob can elaborate on it in due course, a 100-day ignition program, which is where we launch the rockets to make sure that you, Rob, are launched and we start to drive traffic to your, if you like, domain immediately. But the simplicity behind this is franchisees go into a house, decide how many beds that there are required there. The pricing comes down the more you do. You can subscribe as a client to the platform so that you can say, right, I'll do this 3 times a year or 4 times a year. That's entirely down to you. And there's a subscription element to what we're doing. So it's, you walk in, you walk out. There's no debt collection on the franchisee's part. And I think this is one of the real sell points. Our platform's geared up to actually go into somebody's house and the franchisee deploys back to mothership what he or she has just done. That link gets sent to mothership, and a payment link is then forwarded on to the customer. So mothership level does all the invoicing, if you like, debt collection and everything else. Rob walks into the house, walks out again, and moves on. We take care of all of that back end, the client facing, the calendar management, the booking schedules, the debt collection, everything else further. So it really is rather, it's the word I'm trying to look for.
Slick.
It's slick. Thanks, Rob.
Slick, comprehensive, and all highly supportive of the whole process from start to finish. I mean, that was a very good summary, Charlie, because it shows in conjunction with working with Rob, as I say, the backup behind you, and then it's up to the individual person once they're doing their CleanMyBed work to make the most of the opportunities which you've brought to the UK.
Yep. Yeah. And we've got all the sort of, we help every franchisee with those introductory emails, messaging to whichever vertical they choose to to go down. We've done it all, right? So we've got it all packaged.
Well, can we make a promise, the three of us here, that's you, Charlie, Rob, and me, if it ever does go to Ireland, the first port of call is going to be in Keith's bedroom. He's going to be the trial.
Live demo.
Poster boy.
Yeah, we'll do a live demo, all right, yeah.
Yeah, live demo, even better. Look, he's always thinking of the marketing opportunities.
I tell you, I was only
Go ahead,
thinking
Rob.
there
Keith, yeah.
when I originally moved in here, that bed was there and it's a lovely big bed. And I remember moving in and I was thinking, I hope that was cleaned properly. Now we gave it a clean, but I wouldn't imagine it was half as good as CleanMyBed would do. And I was only thinking how nice it would be if when we moved in, there was a little placard on the bed saying cleaned by CleanMyBed.
It's fantastic. You know, when you put it as simply as that, I mean, that's just the genius of it, isn't it? And if you could know that the bed you were going into it had that quality of and professional service, it'd be an easier night's rest.
You'd sleep easier.
And one thing to say that the branding that CleanMyBed has and has put together and will continue looks really professional. It's already of a high level. It's not just something that someone's just mocked up on Word. It's a very, very good looking brand, and you can see that brand going global just the way it looks.
Okay, I'm going to hand back to Keith. I just want to say, Charlie and Rob, we had a few issues between phones and a slightly slow start, but we got there, and you certainly both explained the benefits of this particular franchise, and best of luck with it as it looks deeper into the UK market. Back to you, Keith.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, guys. I have two questions there, but I think you've answered both of them. Gordon was asking the cost of the franchise and the average, the charge for cleaning a standard size of mattress in the UK, and the time it takes to clean the mattress, and if there's chemicals or materials or costs, if any. So I know you touched on some of them. I don't know if you want to jump
Charlie
back
can pick up on that, because you said about the cost, but also there are no chemicals involved, Charlie.
No, absolutely right. So, Gordon, let me just try and help you with that. As I said at the end of the earlier on, our clients are our franchisees, all right? But we want to make the end user journey as simple as possible. And as such, we don't take any, we see a mattress as a mattress as a mattress. So irrespective of size, whether it's king, queen, double, twin, whatever, a mattress is a mattress. So Mrs. Smith can go and book her service knowing full well that she's got 3 beds in the house and size really doesn't matter. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that, as Jerry said, there is no chemicals at all in this. And really, the first time you go into Mrs. Smith's house, we have anticipated, we have projected, and we know, more to the point, it takes about half an hour per bed, and that includes the initial talk, the initial hand-holding to reduce Mrs. Smith's anxiety and to understand why she's doing it. The second time you visit, you can knock off probably about 10 minutes per bed. So the trick to this franchise is really to remove travel from the equation. So if you can find a condensed area, like I think, Jerry, you alluded to earlier, a retirement village, a tower block, or a gated community, or a school, or a university digs, if you can remove travel and get into an environment where you just pick the gear up and move between rooms, you significantly increase your rewards, if you like, and your income stream, more to the point. And I know this, and I did. I think I did when I was sort of setting out. I set a record at one point. I did 18 beds in a day, but I was being pulled from pillar to post across Cape Town, which is where I am now. That record's been smashed purely because they removed the travel from the equation. And you go in and you motivate a sale with a foghorn individual who might live in a tower block or an apartment building on the 4th floor, in the same way you might present a window cleaning opportunity. Hey, it's Sarah on the 4th floor. I'm having the window cleaners in on Thursday. Hands up. Yep, I'll have some of that. And it's exactly that sort of process that we want to ingrain in our franchisees. Remove the travel and present the simplicity behind this, and you'll find that people lap it up.
Perfect.
Sounds pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Rob.
One last question then. In terms of 200, if you're thinking about 200 beds a month, that's about 9 beds a day or 9 mattresses a day. Each home will certainly be servicing 1 or 3 on average. So, to do 9 beds, that's only 3 homes in one day. So, you can see how you could very easily get up to that 200 beds a month, and how easy in a nice compact area that will be to deliver.
Perfect. And then we have one other question from Brian, which is, do you get regular repeat business from clients? And on average, how long does it take to get return on your investment?
Okay, so let me take the first part of that question. Is that Brian, was it?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And the eureka moment for Mrs. Smith is when she actually sees what has come out of her bed there and then. And it's the, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. And her immediate response is, oh, how often should I be doing this? Every single time a franchisee goes into a house, there are 2 questions that are asked. Do you do sofas, couches, upholstery and everything else? And how often should you be doing it? The 2 answers are as follows. No, we don't do sofas, upholstery, carpets and everything else, because we want to be remembered as a niche service provider in an area that has been overlooked. And we want people to realize that they're getting a medical grade service dedicated to their well-being while they sleep. All right. And that when that penny drops, they go, right, I get it. I'm buying a premium service and I don't care. You get somebody else to do the carpet, somebody else to come and do the curtains and everything else. You are looking after my bed. And that is what they love. And the second part is when they actually see what's removed, they ask the question, how often? And that question has been substantiated by the medical profession every 3 to 4 months. If you are allergic, and probably get away with it every 6 months if you're not. But we've got people who do this every month. All right, they've got the resources and the means to do that. And we've got people that do this once a year, but they still come back. So I think Brian's question was, do you get repeat customers? Yes, we do, a lot, at varying intervals.
Yeah, and return on investment, break even is roughly around the sort of 3-4 month mark. You'll get your money, your initial investment back within year 1. But at the end of the day, the more mattresses you sanitize, the more income you're going to make. So just get out there, get out of bed, drive it forward, and the more people you talk to, the more networking you do, the more marketing you do, the more beds you sanitize. That's the quickest route to break even. So it could be quicker if you do it quicker. Yeah.
Perfect. I actually just got one more question just came in there a second ago from David, and it's, is it up to the franchisee to strip and remake the bed?
Good question.
Okay. Yeah, very good question. So really early on, we're not in the business of making beds, and we want to make best use of our franchisees' time. So in the run-up to arriving at somebody's house to service their beds, in all the correspondence, we tell them, please make sure that your beds are stripped in advance. We come in, service the bed, leave the certification and the sticker on the bed to say it's all done, and leave. Look, Jerry, you asked the question here, what is my vision? My vision is, if you like, to get to the point where we can upscale our premiumness about this, to be able to offer the remaking of the bed afterwards. And that's coming. It's just, we want to make sure that we can walk before we can run. But yeah, very, very good question, David.
A nice little scoop there at the end in terms of what might be next in the development of CleanMyBed is they start with getting the package right in terms of the core product, and then maybe other elements will flow. So yeah, good questions came in there, Keith.
Yeah, that's all from the questions. So guys, if you have anything else to add?
I'm good. Charlie?
All good.
Rob?
I think that was very informative.
We've covered a lot there for people to really get a good insight, and then schedule that call with me, and I look forward to chatting and learning more about you as an individual.
Perfect.
Thank
you very much, guys. So once this ends, there will be a link come up on the screen, and it'll also be sent to everyone in an email. So there'll be links there to inquire with CleanMyBed, and you can also watch the replay whenever you like. So thank you very much, guys, for joining us today, and apologies about the early technical difficulties, but we got through it in the end. So
Very
thanks,
much
guys.
So. All right.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, Jerry.
guys.
Thanks, Rob.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, then.
See you later. Bye-bye.